Good afternoon, Whisperers. How are you? How are you doing? Let's get the app to notify everybody that we're over here. I'm trying to make sure that we're even being seen over on our Facebook page. I'm just going to try to pop over and just make sure that that is being set up and we are live over there as well. I see it. Matter of fact, you may have even heard it because it is live and direct. So now that we're all connected here, let's get into this afternoon show. Good afternoon and welcome into Whispers in a Bottle, Grown Talk Cocktail Fridays, the post show. I am your host, Sonya LaRae, lifestyle relationship counselor, fashion psychologist, educator, holistic health and wellness consultant, and motivational speaker. And we just wrapped our show at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over on our home platform at blogtalkradio.com/whispers in a bottle. And today's discussion, oh my goodness, was powerful. And it was all about cultural and identity acceptance. So, I love always that we get to really kind of have such profound conversations, honest conversations. This is when you get to kind of be in a chat box with me and kind of drop your communication in there. It's just kind of our time one on one. And I really want to thank you all for really tuning in and even joining the pre-show over on the Wisdom app. So if you're not on Wisdom, make sure that you DM us the word wisdom over on our Instagram page at whispers in a bottle _podcast so we can get you an invitation because the pre-show is just as impactful and powerful as our main event and now our post show. And I have to tell you guys, we're doing some dynamic things over there, hosting some dynamic conversations that you really want to be a part of. But during this post show discussion, it's going to be about what resonates kind of deeply with me is about that cultural impact and all. So, this really is beautifully portrayed in the myriads of identities and cultures that make up our rich tapestry in humanity. And I touched on it in the show, and I even told you that the wealth that I come from and the beautiful tapestry that I've gotten to kind of embrace that has impacted me and even has made Sonya LaRae this person is because I've had the opportunity to really sit at a lot of tables with different cultures, different people, different elements that really got to blossom and build such a wide variety inside of myself. And our identities are like intricate mosaics. I like to say that they're like mosaics. And if you don't know what a mosaic is, you got to look them up or you have to look at them because they have different colors and different pieces that go into it that make this beautiful work of art. And literally, each piece contributes to the masterpiece or that is the individuality of that piece. And even if some of you all are quilters, you know that if you're a quilter, it takes different pieces and they can have 12 quilters working on a piece and they bring all these different elements together to make this beautiful quilt. It's the same thing that goes into our life. And when we deny or suppress aspects of our cultural identity, we essentially reject a part of ourselves and hinder our path to self love. So, a lot of times, sometimes people don't want to acknowledge or accept that they have a different type of bloodline, or maybe that they come from a different area, or that they don't have what they thought in their bloodline, that it depreciates who they are. But if they really sat in that place and space, they would understand how rich of a culture they really have. But this afternoon, I kind of wanted to lean in on an aspect that may sound a little controversial, but it is also something that I feel that needs to be stated and really brought forward because I think a lot of times people have this element in their lives that impedes upon a lot of this too. So I touched on it in a little place where I said to you in the show that sometimes our cultural background isn't the marker that is inside of our family, our DNA family, right? And that it comes from outside that we get those markers and different things. So during my pre-discussion, I had a beautiful text that was sent to me. And in that text message, it was saying that, I hope you even spoke about sometimes how you have to let go of that family line to be able to grow and develop, to be able to nurture and embrace a cultural identity. And that's what this afternoon's discussion I kind of wanted to sit into today. So there are sometimes that we are born into our families, and our families are our family. That's it. What more can you say? Sometimes some people can't say more than that. That's just my family. But it doesn't identify with the person of who you are or what you stand for, your core values or anything like that. And sometimes we have to do the necessary to be able to value ourselves, to be able to even resonate and vibrate at a higher decimal, means that we have to extract some of the DNA that is there. So sometimes when we do that, it helps to actually grow the bloodline, meaning that sometimes we extract the unnecessary things or unnecessary uh, vibrations or noise inside of that lineage, so we can start to cultivate an appreciation for who we are, that it's not constantly tearing us down or ripping parts of us away. So a lot of times when I have discussions like this, or I'm working with clients that unfortunately have these backgrounds that are kind of dysfunctional in a family sense, I also want them to realize that they can actually change the pattern. So if you think about it in this way, let's say that you were diagnosed with a certain illness, and they told you that if you changed your diet, it would reverse and change the outcome of that illness. You by far would be instantly trying to do just what they asked you to do. You would actually change and try to move that around a little bit and even think about what you're placing into yourself so you could be a better essence and a better quality of who you are. In the same stance, in the same space, in that perspection, we have to be willing sometimes to extract that DNA, meaning that you have to be willing to safeguard your heart. You have to be willing to safeguard your mentality, because sometimes those that are within inside of your family want to keep you at that low decimal. They want to keep you constantly spinning around that drain. But when we're speaking about this dynamic topic that we're pouring into today on that cultural and identity acceptance, it means that sometimes we have to be willing to identify the tracers that are unhealthy. Yes. So, how do we do that? How do we begin to even think in that manner? And some people may say this is like unrealistic, it's cold. How could you say that you should separate from? This is the thing. You have to remember that we have a power inside of us. And each person is to live in that spectacular place and space. Remember, I said it wasn't a luxury, it was a birthright. So we have a birthright to feel self confident. And sometimes that self confidence is not inside of that DNA factor, it's outside of it. So maybe you have attached yourself to a family, or maybe a family has attached themselves to you, and you feel that exchange of energy. You feel that light rushing through you. You feel the pulse of life coming through you. because that culture is really a stabilizer in the fractured spaces and places of where you were. And sometimes we as people have to realize that there are people that are going to be placed in our lives that are the menders and that come in and they kind of extract some of that DNA to input some of that healthy quality that you need. So, for us to be able to keep on building on this rich essence and to keep on having these vibrations and this mentality of growth, it requires that we sit in a place and that we understand that we face certain difficulties. We face conflicts in our life inside of our nuclear cellulus of that family. And sometimes we have to just be willing to pivot and change. And I know, like I said, it's one of those things that kind of sounds like, you know what, Sonia, are you telling me to write my family off? Well, not telling you to necessarily write your family off, but to extract some of that DNA. Because you may need to start to have a bloodline that is healthier. You may need to feel a pulse that's a little stronger. You may need to even be able to switch and pivot a little bit more that helps you to focus on the greater things in your life. For us to have this aspect of having an identity and for us to be of that self acceptance, sometimes it requires that you have to uproot things. Many of you all have had a terrible toothache, and no matter what you did, you went and you got the salve. The doctor came and they put a partial like filling in it, whatever. That tooth just still was so bad that it had to be extracted. And once they extracted that tooth and they started to give you the antibiotics to really heal the infection that was in the gum, is when you started to feel better. Sometimes we have to be willing to extract the noise or the negativity that is in that space and place that is keeping us from having that diversity, from keeping us from having a rich cultural experience, that is keeping us hemmed into that 2x4 box that is stifling and stagnating us because we're not allowed to really grow and reach out. Imagine if they did that with the redwood trees. Imagine if they just put them in those little hampers. Like you see certain trees that they want to kind of, it's called nurturing. So if they nurturing certain trees, they want to keep them a certain size and shape. And many of you all may know about shrubs. I got some folks that teach me about this stuff, just to let you know. So there's shrubs. So you want your shrub to grow a certain way. Gardeners come and what they do is they start to trim the shrub from the bottom, like underside. And they want, if you like, let's say you wanted to have that beautiful kind of rounded look. So what they do is they trim it from the underside to take those underside branches and they start to teach them how to curve. But they tie that into the other branch that's inside underneath. So it starts to bend them that they start to turn. But as they do that, they put this little mesh that it's clear around the bottom of the tree. So now the tree is, that bush is starting to grow, but as it's starting to grow, it's still morphing. It's just not able to really grow out. It grows in and up. So that means that it gets distorted. It misshapes and it actually learns the pattern of growth that it now starts to grow in that dome shape. It's the same thing that people will do to you when they don't want you to expand and they don't want you to expound your mind and they don't want you to go outside the reach of who they are, where they are. They start to stifle and hem you in and shape you in a way that is going to just only enrich them. But see, when we have cultural differences and exchanges and wealth, it gives us a broader mind and it gives us a different concept and it allows us to be these outward beings. How do you think I'm so diverse and so open to so many different things? It's because I was open and introduced to so many things from a very young age. Young age, different cultures, different foods, different people, different music, different thinking. Challenge the thought. Open your mind to different things. Where do you stand on things? These are the things that enrich us, that help us to be able to really grasp and hold on to cultural and identity acceptance. Because once we can do that, we start redefining things. We start reshaping and morphing into different people and elements of ourself that it even may shock you. I know so many times that I see different people that I've worked with, and when they first came to me, they was very closed off and, not open to certain things. Oh no, I could never, or I would never do this or try that. And as we work and we're working and we're developing and we're branching out and we're getting those different boxes removed and that kind of stuck in that mode to show you the broader picture, it becomes so beautiful. It becomes so bright. It becomes an elevating moment in everyone's life. So whisperers, this is the thing. I want you to see how you can redefine your cultural norms. I want to see how you can challenge that stereotypical thinking. Maybe you've never experienced another culture. Go try it. Maybe go try the food. Maybe you've never really sat down and you've really had an authentic, as they say, soulful dinner. Go try it. Maybe you've never had real Latin American food, what the spices and the nature of the food is. What is the culture? How did this begin? What makes a Boricua's dish different from a Mexican dish? And is there a difference in there? Oh, yes, there is, by the way. What makes that spice so great in us? Be open to endless possibilities. Be open to the exchange and the wealth of what you will receive. Sometimes we have to be willing to go beyond the scope of family. We got to challenge some of those things that were placed there and be willing to open up and see different elements. So I love being able to have these discussions. I love being able to birth such dynamic discussions like this that keep us open and honest and moving forward and not afraid to really speak our hearts and our mind. I'm not afraid to speak my truth or tell you my truth. It's because of being open to cultures and the way that things are for me in my life. It's just one of those things that I'm grateful for every day. I don't take it for granted, but I also know that it is my duty, and especially sitting here in a platform that I have, to bring forth and birth dynamic discussions like this that can really help people to shift shape their mind and morph into something better than being closed off, being one dimensional, having one thought. That's why I told you all during the show, even children get it. If you put 7 children of all different kind of backgrounds together, all those kids will just be playing together, having the best time of their life. They'll be, you're my best friend. They're hugging each other and everything. But it's the weight of the parents that divide the children. It's the limited thinking and the sight that the parents have that make the children have to start to be placed in that little hampered cage. And we don't want to do that. We don't want to be that part of that system or that stereotype. So challenge yourself. If you're always, oh, those people, change that dialogue, change it. Get to know those people. You might realize you are one of those people. Because there's a sense in there that vibrates at a different decimal. There's a quality that comes together in a different way. Let me see what this comment says. It says, trust God that I'm on my last leg of PT Trusting God that I'm on my last leg of PT so I can give Walker and Kane away. If not, put a boundaries, distance effect. Yes, yes, because it's necessary. Because see, those are the limitations that people want to put you in. Guess what? You know what else is a part of this cultural divide here is when people want to put on you that you're doing too much. You may be doing too much for that type of person. You may be doing too much for that type of mindset. And because you resonate and you're vibrating with a different culture that is about that mover and shaker business, you identify with them and you see it. And that trajectory is in your notion and your feeling of your soul. See, our families don't have to be from bloodline. Our families don't have to do that at all. Our families are people that we connect with. I have family members that I am not linked to through DNA, not at all. But they are definitely my family members. And they bring into a different wealth and a different category of my life. They're Greek. I have the best Greek cookies and food that you ever want to imagine. Great conversations, things to broaden my mind and to open me up and open my child up to and my husband and different elements. Don't limit yourselves, whisperers. Don't limit yourself because it's always that we are wanting to keep on moving that goal line. See, when we are willing to be open and have that diversity, it puts change in place. It doesn't allow the old mindset that people want to reinforce to take hold, to keep you trapped in. So, how are you going to raise your vibration within this dynamic spectrum? How are you going to challenge yourself to open yourself up to diversity? It just requires just a little bit of work and action. That's all it is. And listen, I always tell you guys, if you're struggling in aspects of your life that is just a little beyond what you can do, don't be ashamed to tap in for professional help. Therapists are wonderful tools and assets to lifestyle. They're wonderful tools and assets to your relationships. And sometimes you need those tools to be able to break you out of a mold because it opens your mindset to a different way. I'm an adopted Boricua. Yeah, that's right. There you go. I love it. I love it. And that's the truth of the matter because it's rich. It's a rich culture and it embraces everything. So, look, Whispers, I want you guys to keep thriving. I want you to keep growing. I want you to challenge aspects of your life, your mindsets. You know, we're going to be on a little short spring break. We go on spring break March the 15th through March the 29th. We'll return on Friday, April the 5th. Now, before 15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on YouTube. But technically, we are back on the 5th at 1 p.m. starting in Wisdom. So, like I said, if you're not on the Wisdom app, DM us the word wisdom so we can get you an invitation to join us. On top of everything else, make sure that you subscribe to our fabulous newsletter because I'm telling you, we got some great exchange in there. We got content. You think you're getting content out here? Honey, get that content in there. I'm telling you, you'll thank yourself. There's a live link that's in the description box. We always put a link, even we put a link in the comments as well. So this way we keep you all informed. You know, always, 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 we appreciate you spending your life moments with us because you don't know how precious that is for me. And like I told you all are not friends in my head. You are definitely friends in my heart, because the heartstrings are what connect us, and the diversity of our rich culture is what keeps the rhythm beating in our hearts as well. So, with that being said, everybody, you have been listening to Whispers in a Bottle, Grown Talk Cocktail Fridays, the post show. Please make sure that you like, subscribe, hit the bell so you're notified each and every time that I go live over here. My name is Sonya LaRae. I'm a lifestyle relationship counselor, fashion psychologist, educator, holistic health and wellness consultant, and motivational speaker. But by far, I'm always honored to say that I am the host of Whispers in a Bottle, Grown Talk Cocktail Fridays, that is live every Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on our home platform, blogtalkradio.com/whispers in a bottle. With that being said, everybody, have a beautiful weekend. Be safe. Share this with someone who may need to hear it. Share it with someone that needs to broaden their spectrum as well, or someone who just needs to be a part of our community. All right, guys, have a beautiful weekend. Take care.